record. And that's it. Now I'm on my own, as you can see. Eli's not here yet, obviously. I hope he's all right and he's got the message. Because he's a very busy chap. So we'll give him a few minutes, and if he doesn't turn up for some reason, I'll babble on. Babylon in Babylon. So just let me see here if this has gone live. There we are. What's on your mind? Right. There I am. I'll put this up there like that and see if anybody's. Vicky's sending me messages. That's good, Vicky. I'll do that. See you in the morning. Yeah, how's everybody doing? Don't you find that these are interesting times? May you live in interesting times, as Confucius apparently said, although it could have been said by AI for all we know. Do you want to live by authentic intelligence, right? Or actual intelligence or artificial intelligence? Well, that's entirely up to you. Should we use AI? Well, my personal view is it really depends on your intention, right? And whether you feel that you're handling it rather than it's handling you. Because I find it very, very useful. What I tend to do is I use a mind map and a spill as almost like vomit all my ideas that are coming to me, right, on a mind map. And then I prioritize it and then I put it into AI and say, sort that out into some order, please. Right. And look for interrelationships. That's what I do. Now, some of you may think, whoa, be careful. Well, I ask my intuition, which is the intelligence in my heart, if you like, that authentic, actual intelligence. I say, is this okay for me to use? Because there's all sorts of concerns and cautions being given out. Is it okay for me? And I get, yeah, entirely. It's a tool, Joe. Use it if it suits you and if it helps you to pass the message on more readily. And then I have to say, well, what's the message? And the message is very simple. Just become aware of your breathing because your breathing, once you understand how you operate breath-wise, it will lead you to your source of internal intelligence and then be guided from that place. And I think that that's what's happening. My feeling is that the goal, if you like, of human life is to find peace of mind and to be comfortable in your own skin in all circumstances, even those seemingly really dangerous circumstances, that you will be confident enough and given the information to navigate you through difficult times. And what am I saying this from? Is it theory? No, it's actually not a theory. It's my personal lived experience, right? And years of practicing, not getting hold of stuff, but actually letting go of stuff. Because I think everything that I've learned, right, all the studying that I did, all the qualifications and all that, right, they brought me to a place of wanting to kill myself and trying to kill myself. Right. So this chap said to me, he's called a sponsor. He's like a health coach, really. He said to me, Joe, all that stuff, what's it worth? And I said, it's not worth a carrot. He said, well, why don't you just jettison your head, metaphorically, decapitate yourself, right? And start to listen in to the intuitive information and intelligence that resides in your heart of hearts. And I went home that evening and a voice said to me, Joseph, we love you. This is true. This is true. And I said, thanks very much. F off and come back when it's light in the morning, right? Because I really didn't know what was going on. And I woke up in a different world the next day. And it wasn't a different world. It was just that my perspective and just the way I saw things had changed. So my perception, it's basically, I see what's going on in the world now. I see it all as useful if you understand that it's basically a process to help you to become fearless and to expand in your consciousness and get closer to universal intelligence. Didn't know I was going to say all this. Let me just check on my email here to see if Eli's all right. Let's have a peep. Just bear with me. So, inbox, Google Calendar. Joe, you're on with Eli. I know that. No, not I'm doing there. Must be busy. That's all right. B Joy, hello B Joy. Happy birthday from you. Was it yesterday, B Joy? Can I say you don't look a day over 93? And I say that because you can't get me because I'm thousands of miles away from you. So I'll just come out of that my email. And, you know, lightheartedness is the key, even with all the atrocities going on. Look, now I've got some curry there on my lip. Oh, what will they think of me? I don't care. I don't care. Right. I have to eat away from my wife because she thinks I eat like an animal. And the thing that really gets on her nerves is when I lick the plate, you know. I don't think I've got much longer. March the 1st, March the 1st, good heavens. John Corpy, behave yourself, John. Getting up to all sorts of stuff out there in Maui. Right, Cara, my love, my Tasmanian devil friend. Claire, hello, Claire. Oh, yeah, so what's it all about? Well, this is what I'm learning every day, and I only feel like I'm ever just scratching the surface of things because it's just too much to know, isn't it? And really, I think I'm in such a lovely place at the moment, although there have been over the last few weeks, months maybe, some really, really tough challenges, but I seem to have this ability now to say to me head, just, I know you're trying to help me head, but just shut up for a bit. I'm just gonna sink in here and get in touch with my heart of hearts, my soul, if you like, my source of unconditional love. I'm just going to say, hello, is there anybody in there? And they get a feeling, it's like a little push, it's like internet connected. Oh, we'll have to find another name. Right, and I get like, okay, so we've got contact. Have we got contact? That was a song by the Police, wasn't it? And I get a feeling of, right, you're being listened to, so you pay attention to. So ask the question, and then just listening for the answer. And sometimes the answer doesn't come, but I just get little sort of synchronicities and coincidences in the day to say, just carry on, son, you're doing a good job, right? We'll send you some information if we need you to act upon anything. But other than that, you know what your theme is. Your theme is the joy of living. Go and find something beautiful, something healthy, and something that won't get you locked up. Go and find something and do more of it, right? Because you don't realize, hi, my love, morning, morning. Yeah, you don't realize, Joe, that there's nothing actually for you to become or anything like that. It's just that if you're joyful, what happens is then you radiate this joyfulness, and it's in that invisible feeling that other people benefit. And we don't tell you because then you'll get all big-headed because you are, whether you like it or not, helping loads of people by being joyful in this miserable world, right? Do you ever find that though? You know, when you're laughing and joking with people, people look at you, don't they? Especially in the hospitals and in medicine. They look at you as if to say, "Hey, you mustn't have enough work to do. Right, be serious. This is a hospital. There's lots of ill people here, right?" And I'm beginning to realize that illness, or if you like, dis-ease, that is basically the root of all our problems. Faulty logic and misdirected instinct. That's what it comes down to. So, what is the root of all our problems? And I didn't want to hear this, but it turned out to be true. Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of all our problems. Now, don't get me wrong. The selfishness I'm talking about and the selfish, it's fear-induced egocentricity. So basically, if you're still looking out there for answers, right, I think that you've missed the point because I did for a long, long time. I was looking to external solutions and material solutions, right, to fill the gap or the hole in my soul. And in order to fill the hole in your soul, according to me, You've got to basically be working to your soul's purpose or your soul's program. Now, this is not religious. In fact, I'm not religious, right? But I think religion, right, in my view, and I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, sorry about that, I'll pay more attention. But I think most religions actually block you and they put you, if you allow it, into a position where you become dependent on their rules, their regulations, and putting as much money in the charity box as you can. Now, I don't believe that anymore. In fact, it's not a belief. I know that that's not true for me. Jane Bailey, my love. I hope Lynn Kirkpatrick, good heavens, all the old mob are here tonight. Yes, Jane, I'm still going on, right? That's not changing, but I'm happy with it. And I'm really, really happy with who I am and what's actually happening in my life. Because it feels like I'm almost on like an escalator of sorts, where the less I try and manage my own life and manipulate all the people around me to make me feel better, right, the better my life goes smoothly, because I spent all my life trying to control external things to make me feel happy. And I realized today is if I just accept life on life's terms on life's sort of terms, as it presents itself, let's do it that way. It's all about the now moment, as they say. So work with the present of the day in presence, right? When it presents itself. Yeah. I know you've heard that before, but I'm just regurgitating it. So, what do you do if your head's up your bottom, right, and you've tried absolutely everything and you're miserable pretending to be happy, or you're afraid and you're really discontented with life? Well, hello, Shani, my love. I hope you're doing well, love. Right. What do you do? Well, I tried for years to try the same old story. I've become more gracious, like Uriah Heep. Hello, can I help you? Expecting something in reward. And if they didn't play my game, I'd get angry then and I'd like become narcissistic. Well, if you don't do that, I'm going to withdraw money from you. I'm not going to do this. You fix the car. I'm not, you see all that? So it was like a sort of a bipolar condition. And I realize today is each soul, right, is responsible at any age, is responsible for almost the program it set itself, even before we came here. So that's where I'm up to. Anybody got any questions? I can ask questions. No, I'm sorry, girls. I'm already married and I'm very happy. And if you asked me, I'd have to run away and say, no chance. Right. Variety is the spice of life, but I've reached the end of that one now, hopefully. Oh dear. Yeah, I don't know where he is. I don't know where Eli is. Let's have it. Yeah, I can't do much about that. He must be having communication difficulties, possibly. So, yeah, that's where I'm up to. I'm beginning to see more and more now that this is about letting go and allowing balance to come in by itself, right? And it's also about alignment. Alignment with what? Well, I'm beginning to see that postural alignment. I learned this at the college with some of my friends here I used to work with. Postural alignment is so important. But what I was taught there was that you have to change your muscles and tone this and tone that. I'm realizing more and more now is if you totally let go, it's almost as if your intuition tells you one step at a time which area of your body to actually work on. And really, it's not about becoming toned. No, no. It is about becoming toned, but it's not about becoming tense. There's a complete difference between being tense and being toned. And what I learned when I was doing my anatomy and physiology and my massage and all that was that there are muscles that are they're called anti-gravity muscles. And these muscles work antagonistically. And that doesn't mean what you think it means. It means that there's an energy flowing down and there's an energy flowing up. And when that energy is balanced on both sides, then you're in perfect postural alignment with gravity. But if you're not in alignment, the force of gravity is so strong that it's always exerting a pressure on you, and you always feel tense in some regions and too relaxed in others. So you see, you can get advice from others, but really I've found that if you listen and feel your own energy that's emerging it will guide you to the actions that you need to take next. That's where I'm up to. And what are you aligning yourself with? Well, the more you get out of the way and you jettison, if you like, the shroud of knowingness, right? No, knowledge. When you let go of the knowledge and all the programs that have supposedly been there to defend you but didn't work, right? When you let go of all those, some miraculous thing emerges and it comes to it with a feeling. So focus on feelings, that's F off. Focus on feelings first, right? Allow this feeling to emerge from deep within and try and listen to how it's guiding you and what action to take next. I didn't know I was going to say all this tonight, but because Eli's not here, there's obviously a good reason he's not here. But yeah, that's where I'm up to. It's and one of my biggest failings was, although some of you on this my will think I've got a lot more, and I don't care because I don't care what you think. What you thought was more important to me than what I thought about myself, right? Although it mightn't have looked like that, right? But I'm all right with me today, right? I'm sort of in a place between fearfulness that's gone, right? And arrogance on the other side. I think that the place to be is sort of in the middle of that, where you have proper pride, not false pride, and you remain cautious because the world is a tricky dicky place. But it's almost like if you stay in the middle, if you like the middle way, right, then more and more information comes and it says things like very, very simply, why don't you go for a swim today? You like doing that. Yeah, but I've got all sorts of work to do. Oh, forget that, right? Forget that. You can do that when you come back. Go for a swim, and believe it or not, you'll have more energy and you'll feel better and you'll get the work done more quickly, right? And that's what seems to happen. But if I grit my teeth and try and force myself through stuff, it de-energizes me, it devitalizes me, and life's not worth living. And what's the point? So it's almost, if you like, it's standing on your head to get through this world because it's definitely upside down. And all this all this baloney, that was the word I'm looking for. All this baloney going on in the Middle East, in America, and all this sort of places. It's horrendous on the one hand, but it's being manipulated to keep us on our toes. That's how I see this is that almost seems like nefarious and unscrupulous forces that are trying to stop us get in touch with our intuition, right? Because our intuition sees more and is far more intelligent than all this artificial stuff that's going on. Because artificial stuff can only work on knowledge, can't it? But intuition works on wisdom. That's a completely different thing. And I'm beginning to see that more and more that we've got this shroud, if you like, this epigenetic shroud that we've built up over our personal lives and even our ancestral DNA is still influencing us, from our cultures. I've seen things like the Irish culture deep within me that I belong to, right? The Irish culture and the sort of sins of the fathers and the fathers' fathers and the mothers and the mothers' mothers. I can see how, in some sort of a way, that's encrypted in our DNA and it sometimes expresses itself, right, for the purpose of being looked at to see if it's got any value. And I can see now we need to even leave go of all that. So DNA to me, right, is actually crystallized behavior from our past, whether it be personal, right, or whether it be ancestral. See, I've gone into like a serious bit now, right? And people might be saying, what a load of old crap. Well, that's okay, but this is the way I try and explain it. And I think if you sit deep in meditation or deep let go, if you like, relaxation, you almost see how your behavior has been being influenced by the depth, even though your conscious mind didn't have a clue what was going on. Right. And I can see the Irish Catholic culture where the man was the boss. He used to go out and do the work. But based upon that, it was like, make sure that my dinner's cooked properly and make sure there's a load of it and make sure that that pudding's all right. And I'm going for the drink. And when I get home, we're going to make more Catholics. All right. And if you don't do what I tell you, then I won't give you any more. You see all that? I'm going to cause trouble here. I'm going to cause trouble. So that was the masculine side, or if you like, the male side, right? But then there's the mummy's curse side, isn't it? If you're a good boy for your mummy, right, I love you even more than I love you now. So be a good boy and do this for mummy because this is the best way. And here's the one, because mummy always knows best. Oops. And if you just look at the world and you look at things like the mafia and the power that the mother had, she was the head of the family, right? So there's all these people in positions of political power, right, that are still in doing good works for their mums, right? That's called the Oedipus complex, you know. But there's then the other side of that one, right? Can't remember the name of it, the feminine masculine equivalent, like Electra, the Electra complex. Anybody got any idea what I'm going with? So in the end, you see, because we're coming to the end of the Kali Yuga, which 7,000 years ago, this was predicted or prophesied by the Vedic scriptures and the Vedic holy people, because they had plenty of time to sit there and go, hey, Billy, have you seen Sirius is popping up? That must mean the Nile River will flow soon, and it'll be a good time to plant seeds and collect vegetables, right? Right. But watch out for the crocodiles. See, there's all this stuff about Sirius and Polaris and the North Star and the Earth changing in its magnetics. No, there's all this going on. But we're trying to, like, with our nose to the grindstone, is try and make enough money to pay the rent or the mortgage, to buy the food, which, by the way, in Sainsbury's is increasing every week, right? Do you know what? Right. The cheese has gone up from £4.50 to £5 in a week, right? And it's a special cheese that I like, a nice crumbly one. Yes, I do eat dairy stuff because it suits me. Thank you. Thank you. I just got a feeling that a cabbage, and not a cabbage, a person who eats cabbage was having a go at me in some sort of dimension. Maybe I'm just not ready for that. Right. Oh, don't know what I'm going to say. Tell you what I'm going to do now. What's this? Don't ever change. I can't change. Jane, it's me. It's the way I am, and I'm happy. And if it makes other people chuckle, then I think that's my job, really. So, what I'm going to do now is, and I don't know what's happened to Eli, but never mind. I'm seeing the reason Eli was coming on, by the way, is he was going to sort of advertise that in a month's time, at the start, if you like, of the Lions Gate portal opening, because we're coming into that now, right? Because there's part of me that understands all that, right? At this, it's a very auspicious time, really, for change. And what's actually happening now is like-minded and like-hearted people are almost like being drawn together, like do 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 do. Remember, that's Close Encounters. I've got that on my ringtone. That's my ringtone. Do 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 do. Right. And if it goes off, right, I know it's one of my friends, right. But if it does that other noise, I know it's not to be answered. So yeah, it's all about people converging and not really understanding why. And there's a load of speakers there, including myself, and I'll be going on about Dao Yin, which is the path of the dragon, because I like martial arts. I like all that stuff to do with Tai Chi and Qigong and all that. But I do believe in practicing those, you almost like flush away old habits and you allow this flow of different intelligence to come through. Right, that's where I'm up to now. And what I've learned is what's going to happen in the future. What I've clearly been told is, Joe, that's not up to you. Right. You said that you'd help out here. So we're going to send you the information on a momentary and a day by day process. And you don't need to know how it's all going to work out. And that's really hard for an egomaniac like myself, because I have to have a word with my heart and I say, well, show me. And they say, no, 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 just take this action and you'll see clearly looking backwards in 3 months what it was all about. But if we tell you how it's going to work out, we know you, right? Because you're a scoundrel, you'll try and get out of it. And that's why, right? I don't think that you get it. So Even this stuff about predictions, and it's a full moon tonight, and it's going to be a really beautiful full moon at 9:36 in the UK. Have a look out your window, and I'm looking out my window now, and all I can see is, isn't that funny? Lines and lines and lines of white streaks. What could that possibly be in a geoengineering sense, I wonder? Right. Are you thick or are you being dimmed? I ask myself. Don't you think there's a lot of global dimming going on? Like when you go down to the shop, no, everyone's like, can I ask you a question? I think global dimming is definitely taking place. So how would you get out of it? Right? Because it's like all sorts of things trying to get in your head and distract you from listening to the voice of reason, which is actually in your heart. Because this is the voice of unreason. This is where the seat of stinking thinking is, when it's based upon fear and pride. They're the only two things, according to me, that block you from hearing the voice of your heart, you know. And how does the voice of your heart work? It works from a feeling, a sense of. And how do you know if you've taken the right action? Because your heart opens up and you feel the flow and you feel enthusiastic. And how do you know that you haven't taken the right action? Because you feel shit and your heart closes down and you feel tense. So if you're open and flowing, just keep going, right? That's it. And if you're not, don't take any actions. If you feel tense, nervous, irritable, discontented, don't take any actions. Take a step back, sit down, think of something beautiful that opens your heart up. If you've got a favorite child, bring the picture in. Let the heart open when the child comes in. If you don't do children, it might be a pet. And if you don't do those things and you want to get a lovely feeling, some of you can put your wallet there and some money. But the point is, you use your imagination to bring in the feeling. And when the feeling opens your heart up, you can get shut of your head then. That's how it uses. You can use AI like that as well if you want to. Claire Kelly, hello, my love. Hello from Clare in Ireland. Hello, hello. My granddad just popped in. Diddly idly, idly, idly. Yes, he's a fine, big, strong lump of an agricultural Irish girl. Oh, Joe, shut up. I can feel me schizophrenia coming back, but it feels good, so I'll allow it in. By the way, if you ever get the opportunity, there's this bloke called Ren, R-E-N, and that's very symbolic actually in Egyptian terms if you want to go and look that up. But Ren, he's brilliant because when he's talking about his head, I understand him completely. That's how I was for many, many years. I was sort of possessed by all this demon thinking. I'd have an idea and suddenly it would be, whoa, you don't want to do that. It's against the law. It's against this, that, and the other. So my head was full of all sorts of conflicting thoughts coming in from all these dimensions. And when I drank initially, it quietened that down. So for years and years and years, I was self-medicating to try and just get one line of thinking. And that's what it did. It disinhibited me and it made me feel free. But then when I woke up the next morning, they were all back in force, right? And my mother would be over the bed like that. Well, do you remember what you did last night? Ah, my mum, God bless her. God bless her. The woman, the only woman in the world who I loved with all my heart and hated with all my heart. Oh, you don't want to be saying that about your mother. I'll say anything I like because lots of people pretend that I can't say about my mother, right? And they push all those feelings down, right? Are you with me? And when they take drink and they take drugs and this disinhibition comes, it all comes spilling out. And you say what you've wanted to say for 30 years and it causes chaos. So how do you get over that? Is you just be honest in the moment and you say, hang on a second, I'm not comfortable with that. Oh, I'm your mother. You should be comfortable. I know best for you. So that's that. And then your dad jumps in then, doesn't he? Your dad jumps in to say, don't talk to your mother like that. See? Got no idea what I'm going on about. My name is Claire, and I'm a fine. Jay's Claire. Me too. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I've got all sorts of people. Hello, Tony. Hiya, mate. I hope you're all right, mate. Yeah, so I'm not being horrible. I'm just trying to explain what's the best way to go forward in life. And I help people to understand that if there's something playing on your mind, best get it off your chest. What do you mean by that? It's the out breath and the expressing breath that actually disentangles you, and it detaches you from the fight and flight response so that you're no longer temporarily in the defense arousal response. And in that moment, if you do it properly, you'll be in a position of neutrality where you can speak your truth clearly. Right. Now, if the other person doesn't like what you're saying, once again, that's got nothing to do with you because you've spoken your truth in the nicest way possibly. Say, look, this is the way I feel and this is what I'm thinking. If you've expressed your truth in that moment, then you've been truthful to yourself. Know thyself and to thine own self be true. That's the only way to go forward, in my view. Ah, yes, but what if what I say, if it hurts them? Well, once again, that's up to them to realize why they've taken the bait. And the truth will set you free, but it will also set them free because also everybody needs to reflect upon what's going on at the moment. So I think that this is a time with this great shift in consciousness that's coming in. Everybody's being forced to face facts and to face themselves and to own up to their own karma. And I know that that's true. That's not a belief. I know that that's happening. And instant karma is becoming more and more instant because it's almost like the universe and its infinite wisdom is like a mirror. And what you give out, you get back straight away. Now, where it used to take years, but it would still come back and bite you on the arse, right? Where it used to take years, you're not going to get away with it so quickly now. So it's almost like you pray, don't you? I hope I don't bump into that person. And the next day you bump into them three times. And sometimes it's to say, I'm awfully sorry. And you clean your own side of the street and you don't enter in any debate. You just say, if there's anything I can do to make that better, then of course I will do. But I'm so sorry for all those things that I did. I hope you'll forgive me. Now, if they don't forgive you, it doesn't matter because by taking that action, you've actually taken the hook out of you and you've basically presented it back to them. Right. Do you see what I'm saying? This is about subtle energy management, this. It's got nothing to do with religion, but it has got to do with forgiveness. Right. And if people have hurt you as well, right, you forgive them because what actually happens is once again, you're removing that attachment from that energetic bond, and that will free you. Yeah, but they did bad things to me. Well, in the fullness of time, their own karma and almost like divine justice will take over because everybody's got to face themselves now. See, I've gone into like serious mode now, but there must be a reason for it. So that's where I'm up to. And there's loads and loads of stuff coming to me. The stuff that's coming to me now is that there are nefarious organizations that are trying to distract us, and keep you fixated externally rather than, and if you don't look in, right, what's that one? If you don't, no, I can't even think about it, not coming to me. But expectations mean that you're looking outwards. It's more about less expect and more inspect you know. So sort of questions to ask yourself is, at the deepest level possible, am I happy with my life? And if the answer is no, I'm not, then make a list of the reasons that you feel that you're not happy. Maybe you're in a situation that's been going on for a long, long time, but at heart, you know that it's not working, but you're just hanging on just in case it changes. And I'm not saying leave. I'm just saying go into your heart and say to your heart, what's the best way forward for everybody here? Right. Please guide me and please direct me to the actions that I need to take in order to be helpful to myself, those around me, and anybody else that's involved. Right. And when I got told this, I thought, how's that going to work? And I just get, don't try and think about it and overanalyze it. Just do it and see what happens. And I swear to you, it's over 33 years now since I've taken an alcoholic drink or any other medication or mind-altering substance. I've been really, really, I've been living as clean as possible, right? Right. And I would recommend it to anybody, but it's almost as if you have to be in a place of desperation sometimes to take these actions because it feels to me like that the last thing that anybody, including myself, wants to change is their own behavior. I was bloody brilliant at it, talk about gaslighting. I could gaslight it and burn your bottom within 2 seconds, right? Turn it right back on you to say, if you hadn't have done that, right, I wouldn't be like this now. How unhappy you've made me, right? You looked in that direction when you should have been looking at me, because you see all that. And I was like that all the time. One horrible bar steward, right? And I'm just like, I'm not confessing for the fun of it. I've had to do this because it released me. So in the end, it's almost like a spiritual selfishness, really. Do it because it will make you feel better. What else can I talk? Fucking hell. Oh, did I say that then? Sorry, forgive me. Did it make me feel bad? No, it made me feel funny, actually. So, hello, Elsa, my love. I hope you're keeping well, right? Interesting times, are they not? Right, they are indeed. Yeah, so that's where I'm up to. I don't know where Eli is. Let me just see if I've got anything to put up here. So, yeah, so it's all about alignment. What are we aligning ourselves to? Well, I think the idea is we don't have to go up there and look to heaven for the answers. We basically have to get our feet planted firmly on the ground. We're like fuses almost, are we? Or like an electrical circuit. Here's Mother Earth, here's Father God, and in the middle is the heart, which is basically the collector and the recycler of the information. Because everything's always moving, so it's always from one to the other. But we seem for some reason to be blocked in either one side or the other. It's interesting what's going on. Let me just see. Yeah, so to go back, because I digress as I do. What are we aligning ourselves with? We're aligning ourselves with that feeling of unconditional love, which is not generated from us as humans, but it flows through us. So when we say we love somebody, right, that can be a bit of a trap actually, because generally speaking, human relationships and human love are about taking prisoners and possession rather than letting go. So when you totally let go, absolutely, right, it's almost like this feeling flows through you, and it's not aimed at anybody, it's just like flowing through you. But that's how I feel it. But what about all these extraterrestrials, Joe? Right? At one level, I sort of don't believe in extraterrestrials and aliens because I feel that we're all one anyway. So we just get in touch with something that's a different part of our own consciousness, mostly unconsciousness that's becoming more conscious. Now, some people may see ET type beings, which I've seen myself, right? But probably because it was on the telly 3 weeks beforehand. But other people see angels, which I've seen myself once again. Other people see all sorts of other things. It doesn't matter. As long as the information that's coming from these beings that are us, but sometimes seemingly outside of us, if the information that's coming from these aspects of our consciousness at different frequencies, if it's saying, be helpful, be happy, and try your best not to cause any harm and make the world a better place, I'd stick with those, right? But if it's saying, oh, you don't want to be listening to that, what you need to do is go down there and sort them out. Right. Otherwise, you'll never feel good about yourself. I'd probably rethink that one, right? And maybe share it with somebody who's on the program, right? And they'll probably go, ha ha, right? Do you see what I mean? So open up, ask for help, listen carefully to the information that comes in. You might see pictures, you might smell a smell, you might taste a taste, and all that. They're all suggestions that different dimensions of your own universal consciousness are trying to stream information to you. And I honestly believe ask and you shall receive, right? And I think also when two or more, and I've had experience of this massively in the last few days, when two or more are gathered, right, for good purpose something happens miraculously. It's almost like a great big cloud of information just descends and all these new ideas start flowing in. Stuff that's never even been thought of before. Not rebadging old stuff and calling it something else. Not about that. This is about receiving innovative, that means new, brand new, creative energies to take action on to build a better world. Oh, look, I've become the Pope. In nomine part. Oh, no, that's the old one. Don't do that. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe Eli wasn't supposed to come on tonight, and maybe I was supposed to sort of go on like this, but in simple terms, let go of your head, right, and get back into your heart and sink deep into your heart and just bring that lovely opening feeling, that gentle, healthy feeling. And when you start sinking into that comfortableness, then almost like say, hello, is there anybody in there? And then wait and see. And some people might hear voices, right? Pay attention to what they've got to say and, be discerning about is it positive or negative. You know what I'm saying? Some people may see pictures. Some people may hear voices. Some people may get a funny taste in the mouth. This is what I've been noticing as well is my taste and my nose thing. When these white lines in the sky come out, my nose starts to drip and my throat closes over. And I know that people like ourselves who are highly sensitive, right? They've almost got extrasensory perception, meaning expanded awareness. So they can pick up stuff that's not generally available to the rest of humanity for various reasons. It's almost like it's been said where the canaries in the mine, you know that one, where the miners used to take canaries down, and as they went further down, because methane was, you couldn't smell it, but the canaries could, and they died, right? If the canary died, right, it meant, right, it was dangerous for the person. I think that would almost like that, but the plan is don't die. Don't die before you've passed the message on. And it's almost like people, sometimes like people like myself and whatever, we see things and I have to say to people, did you just see that? And they go, well, I've got no idea what you're talking about. I think, oh, here we go again. Or have you just heard something? So I think that some of us, well, most people listening to this, right, will have extra sensory and expanded awareness on purpose. And it can seem like a curse, right, until you become tolerant of your own sensitivity. And I think that's what freedom is that where our radars are more pronounced than most people's, but because we've been feeling stuff that other people couldn't understand, right, we've had to almost like become reclusive and close down or take drink and drugs to medicate ourselves to shut those things down. And that's why a lot of medications that you get from the doctor, they almost like close you down, but then you lose vitality then, and everything just becomes a humdrum automaton experience. I'll have to play this back to myself because it's just like coming out. Yeah, but what about all those voice chapter? What about all that stuff? I don't make that up. It just comes out, and sometimes it comes out right in like posh meetings that I'm at, and I think, oh, for fuck's sake, and I go, excuse me, sorry about that. But all those things, they used to call it talking in tongues or glossolalia. And apparently the disciples, right, they went off and they were able to talk in those different tones. And it wasn't so much the words that were important, it was actually the tones that came out seemed to resonate. That seems to be a word that gets like it resonated deep within people, and it almost like then opened them up to the intelligence that resides within them. And as they opened up more, then these other frequencies and dimensions then started to stream in and they would thinking, they will do thinking that they'd never thought of before. And you can almost like tell when people are in this sort of place, they go, do you know what? I never saw that before. Right. That's people wakening up. So I'm just waxing lyrical here. And the other thing is, as such, I don't believe in ascension, right? Like Jacob's ladder. I don't think that you go through step one, step two, step three, step four, and if you miss one out, you can't climb the ladder. Because I think there's states and stages, but I see it like a globe, a spherical, right? And I think sometimes people come here just to work with one sphere, right? And when they've worked with that one, they get the whole picture then. And I think that's open to all human beings. So yeah, I'm Kuan Yin, my love. Nice to see you. Right. Um, the Perdutians, yeah. Quan Yin and I are very good friends, and we've known each other for a long time, and we share the same head most of the time. And we were introduced, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe a year, maybe less, to a new frequency called the Perdutians, right? And they're from a far galaxy, far beyond where we're up to now. So this is really extraterrestrial, like conventional and then post-conventional and then post-conventional, right? Or postmodernism, right? These are like information coming from a long way, not outside of us, but seemingly outside of us, right? But really just an expanded version and connection with who we are anyway. I know that sounds a bit like guru speak, but we're all in this together. I just see one sort of great big amorphous mass, right? Ocean of information that we're all being guided to tap into different frequencies now in order to take actions that are associated with our particular soul's program. Sounds good to me. So how do you do it? Right. Well, the thing is, if you keep having to go to external experts and paying 50 quid a week for every counselor, I'm not knocking counselling. If counselling guides you back to your heart, then it's fantastic. But if it's something like a money-making thing where you have to keep going for 10 sessions, because if you don't come to those 10 sessions, you won't get the answer at the end. That's something I'm not all that happy with. Like, and I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it because there are cognitive affective and psychomotor components of a human being that need to act in certain ways, but it's got to be done, in my view. And by the way, discard and discount any of this. It's all just, what's he going on about? Has he been on the piss again or whatever? No, he haven't. But discard it. But as they say, take what resonates and discard the rest. But don't discard it too far away because it might come back next week to bite you on the bottom, right? Well, that's how it works with me, you know. Be aware of the first thought because that's the defensive one, right? And that's the one that will ply you with a million different solutions to the situation you're in. And it's doing it because it thinks it's helping you, but actually it's causing more and more people um, disease. So if you're feeling emotionally disturbed, it can't be the innate influence, the divine intelligence within you, because that's omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. It's not afraid of anything, so it can't be that. So what can it be? It can only be your ego, right? And sometimes people don't want to hear that. So if anything I've said has caused you disturbance, right, don't be blaming me, but just do yourself a favor, and you don't have to, but it's just a suggestion. Say, why did I get triggered by what that fella's just said? And then just ask your heart, please show me why I got triggered there. Is it something that I need to take action? Is it something that I just need to see? Right? Or is he just a dick? Because that might be the answer to most of these things that I've been saying. So there you go, Wendy. It's an absolute pleasure. So yeah, to thine own self be true, and that means don't be true to anybody else's self, because then you're living their life, right, and not your own, you know. And I honestly do believe that there is a process. There's a process that if you relax, take it easy, ask for an intuitive thought or inspiration, it will come to you because all you need to do is ask. The difficulty is taking action on the inspiration that you receive, you know. So there you go. Just just before I go, I just want to show you some pictures. So I don't know whether you can see that. You are screen sharing. Yes, that's fine. So just going to put some simple pictures up of what's going on at the moment on planet Earth. All the solar plasma and the geomagnetic and magnetic forces. The magnetic plasma is impacting upon our electrical systems, and most of us are frazzled. But in order to mollify and moderate and mediate that, we have to open our heart and basically use that as a sort of a softening thing, really. So there's all these electromagnetic frequencies piling in, but then there's these other forces I mean, and they're positive, by the way. They're positive because they're opening us up and expanding our consciousness. But there's other forces that don't want us to do that. So they're sending in other rays from the side to try and distract these positive waves. That's about as simply as I can put it. But let's go back and see what pictures. Oh, yeah. It's a good talk. There's all sorts of things here. Let me just go back here. What did I call this? Neutralizing 5G with 5D. There you go. A light-hearted approach to self-realization. This is a picture, this here. That's a picture of the Anahata chakra, which is the heart chakra. And there's a central bit here, number 13, right? And there's 12 petals. And that's how I see it, really. There's 13. Now, if you're a Christian, for example, this could be Christ and the 12 disciples, just a symbol or a way of explaining it. Other cultures will have different ways of explaining it. So it's just, I'm happy to go with this one because, let me just go through here. Who am I? Who am I? The question. By the way, that was very important now. Doing my PhD, I found out that the way that you breathe and the frequency of your breathing, right, determines the way your heart works, right? And the way your heart works sends information back to the way your head works. And if you're down here in this sort of little bump, there's still a bit of information going back positively to the brain, right? But as you slow down your breathing, more and more flow comes through. But as you get to about 6 breaths per minute, your two sides of your nervous system work in harmony. That's when you get the flow through back from your heart to your head. And that's when you start to become a master of your emotions and your thinking. So this is basically the path to self-realization and self-actualization. Anyway, that's another story for another day. So we've done that one before. I still use that one because it's good. Let me do this one. I'll get past these quickly. Just want to show you some quick pictures. So that's what's happening. There's another sort of galactic realignment where the grand central sun or the great central sun is impacting upon our universe, and it's impacted upon the way our soul suns behaving basically. And there's all those things. And also, if you want to get into the quantum physics side of things, this field here called the Higgs field. That's supposed to be the God particle out of which are all these other things. So this is great, like the great big soup, right? And this is what the Big Bang people think, that this explodes. And as it then cools down and gets further away, it materializes into all these different parts. Very, very interesting, but not true. Because they think they found another particle behind that one now. So it's knackered their thinking up. But there's photons. If I can just say some things that are coming up in my view, it's if you want to look up biophotonics and basically about mindfulness meditation and letting go to create more space for more light to get in. Because as the light comes in, it cleans our own act up. We don't have to produce the light because we can't. But any natural light now, right, can come in. If we open up, maybe do a bit of sun gazing, but be careful of these things, right? Allow more light into us, even to the extent of being naked in the sun um, in an appropriate environment. If I went out into the back garden now, the poor woman next door would have a heart attack. But there you go. Yeah, just allow more light, almost like to immerse yourself in as much light as possible, but be cautious about it. And generally speaking, a lot of the stuff that you buy to protect you from the sun, right, contains a lot of chemicals that may be doing you harm. But you have to make up your own mind on this stuff. So anyway, what's coming up is the understanding that biophotons, right, working in conjunction with the X chromosome, right, and the mitochondria, it's all feminine influence, this. If you get out of the way and let it do you rather than the other way around, you've got a much better chance of feeling more healthy, feeling more vital, more energy, and blah, blah, blah. I will put this down in some sort of scientific way when I get the chance. Anyway, that's what will happen. That's what electromagnetic spectrum is. Starts off here as very sort of narrow waves with high energy. It's like a rope when you flick a rope. And all these different frequencies have different characteristics and do things. But all we see is this is electromagnetic spectrum. All we see is a bit of a smidges of a bit here. But some of us can feel more. This is the infrared ray, so they feel more energy stuff. This is where all the 5G's coming in now and the radio waves. But some people can feel beyond ultraviolet. That's another thing as well about the smell thing, because smell's one of the most sensitive and powerful um, protection devices, if you like. So a lot of us pick up pheromones, right? And we don't know why, but we just sense things through picking up pheromones that most people are unaware of. We're almost like animals, really. Right, I'm going to shut up now. What's the time? Oh no, 5 more minutes then. I'll just finish it off. But this is basically what we're trying to get through. It's realignment with our deepest energy, which is in our heart of hearts, really. And so the more that you sink in through meditation and letting go, the more you get in touch with these subtle energies. It's to allow the subtle energies to guide your actions. So from within. So this works from the feet up and from inside out. But the world will tell you that it works the other way around, you know, that outside in and head down. I don't feel that it works like that. And that's basically a simple diagram of what's actually happening. Right. And I love all this stuff because these all represent different frequencies. Because even the smidges change of a 0.001 change in frequency has different characteristics and different information attached to it. And it's like, isn't it? It's dropping the rock in the middle of a still pool, and these waves do that. But what happens then is, as the waves go out with different characteristics, it hits the shore and then they come back in again then. And that's what's happening in a figure of eight. We're receiving information, acting upon it, and then feeding back to source itself, you know. And I think that's what this dance is, if you like. And it's dynamic. It's a process that's going on all the time. And if we get out of the way and trust the process and let it do its business, what happens is we physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual intelligences, and in the middle is the fifth element appears, and we are that. Right, there you go. Same again. The aligned fifth element, I call it. Some people are saying, oh, the fifth element is this, that, and the other. It's whatever you feel is, and whatever words you put on. If it makes sense to you, it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. Right? If it makes you a happier person, a healthier person, a more helpful person, then just carry on the good work. And if for some reason you feel disturbed, it's an indication, right, that you just need to stop for a second, take a step back, open up your mind, open up your heart, and ask the question of your intuitive intelligence, your II. Just say, can you show me, please, in some way, what this is, what's causing this? And sometimes you just need to see it and it dissolves. But sometimes, generally speaking, you need to take an action to actually realign karma. And that's a soul, believe it or not. And that is what I see as a representation. It looks 2D here because it's on flat, but it's in a spherical. This is the Merkaba. Merkaba. And basically speaking is we're here in this bit here. We'd be sitting right in the middle here in the soul's bit here, and basically regulating all these different spheres. So there's one way in that comes from Mother Earth. This is the root chakra. And there's one way out. So that's when the crown of the head goes. And then you whiz off then to your next bit of fun. So you're coming in from the past, you're cleaning up your act, and then you get to move on then to the next one. And if you miss a bit out, you can always come back and say, oh, I missed that bit out. I think I'll do that again, or something like that. My suggestion is make sure you do what you do, make sure that you get it all right. Otherwise, you might find yourself back here. Other pictures. And this makes a lot of sense to me. These all might be aligned, except for that one there. One, two, three, four, five. In this fifth aspect of the second dimension or density. Don't worry about it, but this is how I see things in my mind. So if you come in and you're still on a linear thing, you'll be wasting loads of time here. But if you come in and you realize it's this one here I've got to sort out, then everything else falls into place then. Right. And so that's what it's about. People will tell you that they know exactly the area that represents linguistics and stuff like that. No, they don't. There's trillions of connections here. And in truth, medicine hasn't got any idea what's going on at all. Right, let me get out of that now. So there you go. So yeah, balance. Hello, D. Nice to talk to you, D, or nice to see you. Wendy, behave yourself, Wendy. I've been watching you. Hiya, Jill. So there you go, everyone. I'm not sure what happened to Eli. I hope he's all right. And I'm going to play this back and see what I've been going on about. If for some reason I've said something that's upset you, good, good, right. It's something that you need to look at, right? Because I feel fine. So I'm quite happy with what's just gone on here. Right. And if someone breaks in tonight and stabs me, maybe I've missed something I don't know. So on that note, lots and lots and lots of love wherever you are. Um, I hope you have a wonderful time wherever you are. Yes, there are horrendous things going on, but sometimes we almost have to detach with love until we're in a position right in front of us in the present moment to do something about it. And if you can't do something about it and it's draining you, well, there's something that needs looking at there, to be honest, because it's almost like a waste of energy. And it's not that I'm saying I don't care, because I do care, but also it's about time and energy management. And sometimes you have to say, well, that's got nothing to do with me. But there was like a serious bit. Cheeky monkey. Right, well, ta everyone, and yeah, keep smiling as best you can, and don't worry if you're smiling and everybody else wants you to be miserable. Right, just keep smiling because you don't realize that it will get to them in the end. So there you go. I'm off. Bye bye.